What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and I am back today with another video for you all. In today's video, you guys, as part of my free-to-play guide for farming characters available, I want to walk through with you my top 5 characters that you can select and build from the supply store. So this is going to include characters from Blitz, the Raid store, Arena store, and lastly, the War store. Please note as well, this is in no particular order of importance. I believe that these top 5 characters right now are the best to purchase. Especially if you have the shards that are available and if you don't immediately need to farm for specific characters. These characters will provide you excellent value based on their utilization and their potential, as well as being able to potentially be a part of unlocking a legendary. So let's dive right in, you guys. Diving right in, you guys, I'm going to start with my official selection from the Blitz store. That would be SpiderMan Miles. The reason I've selected him to be a top 5 ranked character to farm from the supply store is due to the arrival of the new Young Avengers team. SpiderMan Miles has definitely been reworked in the sense that now, if Squirrel Girl is an ally, he has the ability to actually clear positive effects from the opponents. Additionally, SpiderMan Miles also gives you access to unlocking the legendary Shuri. I've definitely utilized him in the later nodes, as I recently started Dark Dimension 1 with him getting 6 stars. He's been able to land those defense downs and slows on the enemies. Additionally, he makes part of the Young Avengers team as well as the Symbiote Spider-Man squad, in that Spider-Verse team. In terms of the end-game content, you guys, he can still be utilized, although he's not utilized as heavily as the rest of his Spider-Verse team. The Young Avengers is definitely becoming one of the top-ranked teams right now in the game. So for bang for buck, Blitz store is one of the best areas that you can farm characters. I highly recommend getting him, as you also get a chance to be able to build towards unlocking Shuri, who just recently came out. So that's my number 1 choice right now, you guys, for the Blitz store. Next, you guys, the next character I would like to talk about then is moving on to the Raid store. That's gonna have to be one of my most favorite characters actually right now, just because he's part of my favorite team. That's gonna be Thor. Although the farmable node just released with the Doom campaign nodes, unfortunately he's not really attainable that late with the nodes, because you have to unlock Nexus 8 in order to reach that. So I still consider Thor a recommendation in the Raid store. If he's available, I definitely highly recommend. He's part of unlocking the legendary Black Bolt, you guys. Asgardian's team is one of the most powerful top 5 teams in the game right now in all game modes. They can definitely even be utilized in the end game content, such as Dark Dimension. So that's why I highly recommend building Thor. He's the core of that. And furthermore, you guys, with the revitalized and new Avengers rework, Thor has just even been able to allow more options now if you want to swap him in, because now his God of Thunder here is actually applicable to the Avengers team. So let's quickly walk through his skills. This is just his basic attack, doesn't do anything special, but it does hit for some good amount of damage, which is pretty standard. Hammer throw, that's when he throws his damage towards a primary target. It can also chain, so this is really good just for allocating damage across numerous targets. This is my most favorite attack from Thor. He's able to apply a targeted stun, and there's also an additional chance to apply additional stun to additional targets. So that's really nice, you guys. He has that AoE of damage, but as well as the probability of also stunning, which can help in battles, especially when there's a opponent that's critical and making a critical move, such as a revive. And last but not least, when I went over God of Thunder, essentially this attack is whenever Thor is attacked a certain number of times, he's going to retaliate and release a strike of thunder. So in this case, it's looking like 5 charges are built up, and that's why it's so crucial, because he just adds so much depth and DPS. And now with the reworked Avengers, that really does cement Thor's place in both the Asgardians team and his Avengers, increasing his diversity, you guys. So definitely a top recommendation in the Raid store if you guys are able to farm him for the stars. Moving now into the Arena store, you guys. My next character pick I'm going to select here is Mordo. The reason I believe he's one of the best characters in the supply store right now is numerous reasons, you guys. First and foremost, you know, he can be utilized in both the ability enhancement and the training day challenge events. You know, if you guys have seen my earlier videos in terms of unlocking Hela in campaign 7, Mortal is one of those 5 characters that I definitely highly recommend, because he has a well-placed stun that you can utilize and control. Additionally, he's also part of unlocking the legendary Phoenix. So currently I'm building Mortal right now, you guys, because unfortunately Phoenix's legendary is the only one where all 5 characters need to be 6 stars. So if you guys can start farming Mortal, I definitely highly recommend as early as possible. He provides a lot of value just because even his supernatural team is really good. So let's go through his skills real quick just to give you guys some insight. Even his basic attack can apply 1 to 2 random negative effects, so that's really nice just for kind of like casting damage, and as well as being able to cast some bleeds here and there, or even defense downs. Really adds value to any team setting, you guys. But this is definitely the reason I'm gonna look forward to unlocking his T4, is because he has the ability to also stun, and even if they're not stunned, they're able to get blinded, and it's up to 3 targets, and there's a slow. So you know, he just casts a lot of negative conditions just having his special ability right off the get-go. You can use it from turn 1. So definitely I'm gonna upgrade this T4 for sure once I get him to level 70. Oh, excuse me, 68 here it says. And last but not least, you guys, let's take a look here. His Demons of Dinak, he also attacks all targets and applies a heal block. So if you thought his special wasn't bad enough already, his ultimate is just as good in my opinion, just because, especially when there's a lot of characters that have dodge available, this attack cannot miss. It's just great for countering Loki as well. And his passive here on the death of any character, he also heals for that character's the percentage of their health, and benefiting his supernatural team, right? He also helps them out as well. So especially granting them ability, energy, and heals when that's possible. So highly recommend, you guys. Mortal is really good for value, and his end game, like I said, he's part of the supernatural team, which is still a pretty good team overall. But like I said, his uses in the game, though, he can be utilized in multiple nodes right now, and he just provides a lot of mid-game to late game potential, especially in terms of ultimately unlocking Phoenix for your guys' usage. Last but not least, you guys, my last 2 characters that I'm actually going to talk to you about is actually from the War Store. And you know, it's pretty obvious, the War Store is probably the most premium shards that you can get, so these characters are always going to be a little bit higher tier in my opinion, higher priority. But I'm going to start off here, you guys, with Mr. Sinister. Unfortunately, he's not actually part of unlocking a legendary, but he's part of he's a critical piece of the Marauders team, and that right now, because of the recent release of Emma Frost, you know, they're one of the best teams in the meta right now. They are definitely end game material. Reason I have my Mr. Sinister built up right now is because his end game is almost future proof, just because of his ability to be able to clone. So I'm planning to utilize him for Dark Dimension 2 right now. So that's why I'm building up right now, getting him up almost to tier 13. Let's walk through his skills and talk about why he's such a high playable character in terms of providing value. So first and foremost, you guys, you know, if he has Marauders, he obviously gains attacks from his Marauders and getting assists, so nothing crazy about here. But what's nice is if he does have a clone as well, his clone will also attack. So that's just that extra DPS is definitely nice. His special ability allows him to clear the heal block from 2 of the injured allies, and as well as additionally gaining offense up for 2 turns. He's also able to transfer all these positive effects to Mystique if she's on the team, right? So, you know, like I said, this is his sustainability side, and I really like that about him, just because you don't think he's a good healer, but he actually does do a really good job, especially when the heal is 15% of his max health. So if you guys have a strong Mr. Sinister, he's going to provide a lot of value on a Marauders team. My favorite ability on Mr. Sinister, you guys, reason I'm taking him to Dark Dimension is, you know, I've seen numerous content creators where they've created an army in Dark Dimension utilizing, you know, limitless energy just for him to keep replicating a clone. So very useful, you guys. The best part is the clone actually gains defense up as well. So, you know, and again, this is also useful in war defense because he's able to generate ability energy for all his Marauders. So this is the key, you guys, for his Marauders team, right? So last but not least, on his passive, when he spawns, he generates ability energy if there's no clones around, so that's really useful. And additionally, you guys, on the turn, he actually gains a heal as well, and applying regeneration to any of his mutant allies. In this case, it's likely going to be Strife and Mystique helping out. So like I said, you guys, very, very useful. I definitely recommend Mr. Sinister. I'm really happy they added him to the War Store now. So he's a great addition. And unfortunately, he doesn't unlock a legendary, but honestly, he's I use the term future-proof for Mr. Sinister because as new characters come out in the game, he's always going to be able to clone and replicate them, which means you'll get access to them. So really, he has a really cemented place in Dark Dimension, especially if there's new powerful characters coming out that face us. You know, so I'm going to utilize him in Dark Dimension 2, and you bet I'm going to clone Ultron in the battle against him. So that's very, very exciting. And last but not least, you guys, in the War Store, I'm going to talk about Carnage. You know, I cannot say enough good things about Carnage, you guys. You know, he can be utilized in the Gold Rush challenge just like any of the city heroes and characters. Additionally, he's actually considered one of the key pieces in Dark Dimension 3 city nodes, because that's the game mode where you're going to require 15 different characters from the different types of characters, right? So in this case, Carnage working hand in hand with Symbiote Spider-Man basically allows for so many attacks just due to their increased speed and synergy and healing from Symbiote. So he's utilized, guys, in high-end raid tiers. You know, that would be tier 6, tier 7, the highest difficulties. You know, he's also utilized in terms of unlocking Shuri. I think, honestly, he's one of the best characters in the game right now just because of his synergy. It's going to be really exciting to see what comes out for the rest of the Symbiote squad, because if you follow the Marvel Universe, there's a lot more Parasite and Symbiote characters that can be added to this team. So I'm very excited if they actually come out with a legendary for this. But let's go through his skills to see why he's such a great offensive addition to the Symbiote team, you guys. So first and foremost, when he attacks, if the target already has a negative condition, he changes that and it spreads the 2 negatives. So that right there is really good for any team that has a negative casting team. So it's even good in combination with the aim team because they're all known for their negatives. His next special ability is where he actually attacks for additional damage per negative effect. So essentially, the more negatives on the opponent, the more dangerous his ability is going to be. Additionally, attacks adjacent as well, and it removes it from the target afterwards. Next, you guys, Absolute Carnage. This is where he applies 2 bleed to the target, and like I said, you guys, if the target is above 50%, he's just going to keep adding another bleed, and it applies it for 2 turns as well. Frenzy Fury, this is the T4 I'm going to take a look at, you guys, because this is what makes him really pivotal in the Symbiote team overall, just because when that enemy drops below that 25% health, his speed goes up, and same with all the Symbiote allies. So additionally, he also gets healed, and that's just crazy. So you're telling me that he gets another turn additionally to getting heals, and that's why he synergizes so well with Symbiote Spider-Man, you guys. So, you know, that lays out my top 5 characters that right now you guys can purchase from the supply store. Like I said, that was not in any particular order. That's just, in my opinion, the best 5 to farm right now if you guys aren't in need of anything immediate. I hope this video was able to give you guys some insight. Maybe you learned a thing or two. Obviously, I'm always appreciative of you guys checking out my videos and taking a look. And thanks again for watching. As always, I'll see you in the next one.